So today we're going to be simplifying, multiplying, and dividing radical expressions. It's going to be a lot like, Kiadra, up here. It's going to be a lot like when we broke down the square roots. And the pairs went on a date, and they went on the outside, and leftovers had to stay at home. Right, so it's going to be a lot like that, except now we have fourth roots, and cube roots, and all other kinds of roots. And we have variables. So coming up here to this first one, I've got the square root of 64. Which is 8. Because it's an even root, you no longer have the root, your answer is just 8. Some people are still trying to put the root over top. What's up?
Wait, so when do you do plus minus 3?
When you're solving an equation. So we're not solving on this one, so we're not going to do it.
So it's just simplifying.
Yeah.
Understandable, thank you.
If you broke down 64, you could break it down to 8 and 8. There's your pair. You don't have any leftover numbers, so same thing. All right, so no leftovers, no root.
You can't break down a cube, can you?
You can. We can.
Like,
So, the cube root, we are going to break this down. It's not a perfect cube root. But instead of looking for pairs, how many numbers are we looking for? 3, right? We're going to look for a threesome. So, 100 and... I know, so funny. It's gotten every class period so far. 2 numbers that multiply to give me 128. 2 numbers that multiply to give me 128.
We don't
40.
know.
Wait. 42.
Yes, you do. 2 and 64.
Who's just randomly multiplying numbers?
Just 42 and 4.
Look, half of 8 is 4, half of 12 is 6.
How do you get 64?
I know that 60
Look,
times 2
half of 8 is 4, half of 12 is 6.
I do that. Look, I do that. So what I do is I divide by 2.
So if you were to break down 64, what's half of 4?
And 4. You see what I'm doing?
3.
And then I keep on doing that. I keep on either
32.
dividing or multiplying 2 on both sides until I get the
Oh my
PCF.
gosh, y'all.
I'm shook. I'm shook.
All right.
Why did they tell me this earlier?
Bro, I'm shook.
Oh my goodness.
All right. 32. What does 32 break down to?
16 and 2.
16 and 2.
Oh, I'm small.
We
And
have 3.
16 breaks down to?
8 and
4.
Yeah.
You could do either one. Either one. I did 2 and 8. And then 8 breaks down to?
2 and 4, and then 4 breaks down to 2 and 2.
All right. So lots of 2s, right? We are looking for a group of how many? 3. So I have a group of 3 right here. And I have another group of 3. And I have a leftover one right there.
So you got to add both of them 30 times.
Not add, multiply.
Multiply.
So these 2 groups, remember the groups, they're going to go on the outside.
4.
They're going on a date. So 2 times 2.
4.
And you get 4, yep. And then the lone one goes back on the inside of the cube root. So 2 from here, 2 from here.
So
Go on the
4
outside.
on the outside, 3 on the inside, and 2 on the inside.
Yeah, the root is going to just be the same throughout the whole problem for all of the problems today. So whatever root you have, it stays the same throughout the whole problem. So this is a cube root, so cube root, cube root, cube root. Ooh, that stays the same.
This makes me uncomfortable. Thank you. Makes you what?
Uncomfortable. All right, and so this is your answer, 4 cube root of 2.
That's epic.
All right, so
I have some.
now we're going to talk about the variables. All right, for the variables, what we're going to be doing is we're going to divide. The coefficients, like when you're looking down here at these big numbers, the coefficients and the exponents have different rules because they are different kinds of numbers. One is a coefficient, one is an exponent, so you can't treat them the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the coefficients you break down like the tree, like we've done in this class a bunch of times. The exponents, we're going to divide. How many times does 4 go into 8?
2.
Is there anything left over? Nope, so nothing on the inside. So your new coefficient is a 2.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Mm-hmm.
So you said you each just divide them?
You divide. How many times does 4 go into 8?
2.
Twice.
Okay, and that's it.
That's it.
Oh, and then on the next one we're going to see if
No.
there's leftovers?
Yep.
Like, you know, the long
Now let me explain to you kind of the reasoning behind the dividing. Shh. X to the 8th is x 8 times, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so if we like did our little factor thing with the x, we have x 8 times, and we're looking for groups of 4. So 4x is there, 4x is there, nothing left over, which is what you did back in elementary school with dividing. If I don't know if you remember, I'm sure your teacher probably did something with like Skittles or M&Ms or something. And you have 10 Skittles and you have 5 friends. How many does each friend get? And you would,
That's why I was giving them.
divide them out.
We had the teddy bear blocks.
Yeah, something, whatever.
I never used
Not like
it.
All right, so focus back up here. We still have lots and lots to do. On this next one, because I don't want to have to draw out x 10 times or like the y 12 times. So I'm just going to do it in my head from now on. I'm just going to do the dividing. How many times does 4 go into 10? Twice. Right, it goes into it twice. With how many left over? Like, what's your remainder? 2. So leftovers go on the inside.
I cannot see anything.
Me either. I can't. It's like the
Oh.
glare or something.
Here, I'll do it in green.
Window.
X squared.
I
And
still
then-
can't see.
It's
Somebody
the
close
glare.
that. Somebody close that, please, because I cannot see.
Oh, you can close it.
Who opens it?
Well, I don't trust blind. They call them.
It's not gonna. It's zip tied super strong. Like it's not gonna fall on you. Just close the curtain.
Okay.
So 4 goes into 10 twice, which is why there's an x squared on the outside, and then left over 2.
Oh, yeah, that should have been close set.
And then left over 2. And then you write
Close
whatever.
up.
The root just follows along.
So could you also simplify it? So like with a cube root or like whatever the root is, you could do the same thing?
Yep.
Divide.
All right, go to number 1. All right, number 1. We're gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna just like kind of combine everything together. Number 1 is a square root. What is the square root of 4? 2. It's a perfect root. So I'm just going to write a big 2 out here on the outside. It's no root because it works out perfectly. And then how many times does 2 go into 6? Are there any remainders or leftovers? So we don't have a root. So this is your final answer.
Okay, I understand.
Right?
Pull the number out.
Oh,
It's an imaginary 2. Yeah. I gotta remember that.
All right, let's do number 2. Number 2 is a cube root. All right, so we're thinking cube roots now. What is the cube root of 27?
3.
3. How many times does 3 go into 3?
Once. So it's just 3 with A.
So just, yep, 3a. If you want to put the exponent of a 1, you can.
Squared.
Yeah,
Yes.
see, I'm understanding.
Sis for mommy is. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, number 3.
Oh my God.
Number 3 is a 4th root. So we're thinking about a number 4 times. What is the 4th root of 4 times 4 times 4 times 4?
2.
2, because 2 times 2 is 4 times 2, 8 times 2. Yep, and 4 and 4. So
2048, thank you.
4th root of 16 is 2. How many times does 4 go into 8?
2 times.
How many times does 4 go into 12?
3. Y cubed.
All right, so are we good with it working out where everything works out perfectly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet. Let's do some where it doesn't work out perfectly.
That's a sin. That's a sin.
When will we use
What
it?
color are you using? Purple, purple? Yeah, purple.
Like dark blue.
Oh, I have it out. Yeah.
All right, number 4. So we're talking cube roots still, and there is no cube root of 72. So, yep, so I'm going to break down 72. What 2 numbers multiply to give me 72?
9, 8.
9 and 8. All right, what gives me 9?
3.
What gives me 8?
2, 4.
And what gives me 4?
2, 2.
And we're looking for a group of how many numbers?
3.
3. Right, and so I have 3 2s. What are my leftovers?
3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Aw,
Multiply.
little guys.
So 2 goes on the outside. Cube root. And then my 2 leftover guys, I'm going to multiply them,
Which is 9.
which is 9, and they have to stay inside the house.
Yeah. It's not that much. So all we have to do
Divide
is factor in when it don't
5
work out perfect.
over
Mhm.
Okay.
5 divided by 3. Would that just be 5 over 3?
All right, so how many times does 3 go into 5?
Once.
Once. What's left over?
Oh.
What's your remainder? 2.
I see what you mean now.
So your remainder, your leftover, is going to go on the inside. Does that make sense? So 3 goes into 5 one time. So 8 of the 1 with 2 left over.
But I can't do this.
Okay, I'm confused.
I got it.
2AB goes on the outside?
Whatever
Yes.
you left your
Did you
bottom
get
of
it
your
from-
thing.
So it's
2AB.
Cause
I
you
just said
doing
that.
it.
So
I
for the
just
B,
said
everything.
that.
Oh, sorry, it was
Then it's just B.
2AB.
Yes. It's going to go on the outside, but not on the inside.
Yes.
Did you give me half 5?
So for the B, shh, focus up here. It's okay. Focus up here. For the B, how many times does 3 go into 3? 1. So we have B1 on the outside. Is there a remainder or leftover? No. So
Why is it on the outside?
if it goes into it, it goes on the outside.
Okay, maybe we'll isolate this.
So if it's like this B or whatever,
Mhm.
it's out.
Outside.
Okay.
Leftovers.
Say if it had a leftover, it'd be on the inside.
Yep. Leftovers, extra stuff, that all goes on the inside. You don't have to put the little ones there if you don't want to.
Miss, you got an extra water bottle?
An extra water bottle? I don't. I'm sorry. All right, number 5.
There we go. We must save it.
All right, 4th root. Angie, over here.
Yes.
4th root of 80 does not have a perfect root, so we're going to break down 80.
10 and 8.
10 and 8.
10 is 5 and
5 and 2.
G epic.
2. 8 is 4 and 2.
Uh-huh.
And then 4 is 4. 2.
And we're looking for a group of how many numbers?
4. Oh, gee, look at those 2s.
Right, so 4 2s with a leftover 5. So the group goes on the outside. And then the 5 is going to go on the inside. So group of 2s goes on the outside, leftover 5 goes on the inside.
10 divided by 4.
So
2.
So x squared on the outside, and then there would be also x squared on the inside.
very good. So 4 goes into 10 twice with 2 left over.
And then 4 going to 5. Y1.
Mhm.
And Y1 in the middle.
Y.
Very good.
Oh, gee, guys.
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh.
Wait, why is another Y on the outside?
Because 4
Because
is going to
5
go
goes
in
in
5
4
one
goes
time.
into 5 one time. And then there's one left over.
Does that make sense?
And when you divide, I divided by 4.
4 goes into 5 once with 1.
And there's that minus, and then there's a 1 left over. So it goes over.
All right. We're going to skip 6 and 7 for right now. We're going to drop down to part B. All right. B.
Gee, I love that color.
So, yeah.
My favorite.
So on B, we're going to be multiplying. If you are multiplying and your radicals are the same, you can multiply what's inside your roots, A times B. All right, so if your roots are the same, we can multiply the insides. And then let's just do a quick review. What do you do to your exponents when you multiply?
X7.
You add and you get x7. All right, so number 8 here. What we are going to do is we are going to first multiply and make this one big root.
Oh my goodness.
If you need a calculator, you can have a calculator. 54 times 5,
270.
70. X squared times x cubed,
X5.
x5,
Y7.
and then y7.
So you're gonna look for that pair
plus 3.
How many times 3 going to 6?
So when you multiply, you add your exponents and then 3 plus 4.
Okay, let's do this, Caitlin.
Alright, so are we good up to this point?
Yeah.
Alright, I multiplied my numbers, I multiplied my variables, and now I gotta simplify now. Like we did up in the top.
Oh my god.
Alright, so
It is a perfect lesson. Right?
no, it's not.
I found it.
Alright, 270, we're gonna break it down. So I already know that 54 and 5 are two numbers that'll multiply and get it because I multiplied them together to get 270. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So 54 and 5 and 9 and 6 and 3 and 3 and 3 and 2. Alright, so I'm looking for a group of what? Group it. So, got 3 3s. What's left over? A 5 and a 2 left over. So 3 goes on the outside. Cube root. The 5 and the 2 are left over, so I'm going to multiply them. They go on the inside. How many times does 3 go into 5? Once. With what left over? 2.
3 going to 7 2 times.
Right.
There's one
With
left
1
over.
left over.
Very good.
Look at my scholar.
And that's it.
And that's it.
It'll never be no
Just a little
negative.
prodigy, guys.
I'll show you the negatives on the back.
Oh my god.
Alright, number 9. I'm going to skip number 10, but we're going to do one more of these. Number 9. Alright, so 7 times 42 is 294.
8 to the power of 6
Very
to the
good.
power of 9.
A to the 6, because 5 plus the understood 1 is 6.
Do we have a practice?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
All day.
And then B to the 9. I promise we're actually almost done. It doesn't seem like it, but we are. So just stay with me. Shh. Girls in the back, I can hear you.
42, break down 42.
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
3 and 2.
That's
Alright, so I have a pair of 7s here. With a 3 and a 2 left over.
so
Could we just leave it at 6 and only go half?
7 on the outside, 6 on the inside. Alright, and so because this is a square root, it's an understood 2.
7, 8.
So how many times does 2 go into 6?
3.
3. Do you have any leftovers?
No.
No, so nothing on the inside. How many times does
1 4 times.
4 times with what left over?
1.
1.
6. Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Alright, I promise we're almost done. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we really are.
Coach, do you already have the practice?
I do.
I want it, please.
Okay, let me finish.
Okay, bet.
Yes, what's up?
Would you really keep that number tomorrow?
Because so if it goes into it evenly, it goes on the outside. So 2 goes into 6 3 times.
Okay.
2 goes into 9 4 times. This is your leftover stuff.
So much easier knowledge.
Alright, flip it over on the back. We're going to divide. Shh. I have 3 problems left. Only have 3 problems left. Dividing rules work the same way. If your roots are the same, we can divide.
These red.
And for our little review here, what do I do to my exponents when I divide?
Mine's going to be A 3.
Very good. So this will be A3.
This will be B negative 4.
So,
It would be 1 over B4.
very good. So 3 minus 7 is negative 4, and because it's negative, it goes on the bottom of your fraction.
Yeah.
We divide.
All right. So on number 11,
Oh my god.
we are going to divide our numbers and make it one big root.
5.
So 108 divided by 2,
I'll just say
54.
54.
A 4.
A to the 4th, because 7 minus 3. And then we just have to simplify. So 54,
9
9 and 6.
9 and 6. 9 will break down to
3, 3, and then 3, 2.
And so you have a group of what?
3,
With what left over?
2,
So 3 on the outside,
3, 8.
2 goes on the inside.
Cube root of 2, 8.
For your exponent, how many times does 3 go into 4?
1 time.
1 time with what left over?
1, 8.
Very good.
Gee,
Oh my gosh, I got that.
I'm gonna try.
Wow.
First thing we did.
All right, I'm going to do number 12 because I want to show you what happens when you get a negative.
Oh my god.
It's not that bad though.
Is it just like the I?
No, no, no.
48 divided
Oh my
by
goodness.
3.
48 divided by 3? 16?
Still.
Okay.
Yes.
16.
X squared.
For my exponents here, I've understood 1, so 3
2.
minus 1, so x squared. And then 2 minus 8,
There's gonna be a fraction.
negative 6. So very good. So the only thing,
Goes to the
Yeah.
bottom. Right?
Square root of 16x squared over y negative.
don't forget your root.
Y 6.
It's still in a root.
And then you keep on
Can't you just put
simplifying
it
it?
in the same?
You could, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
And then yes, all we have to do is simplify. So we're just going to simplify the top, simplify the bottom. It's going to be a fraction, which is fine. So for the top, what's the square root of 16?
4 is already up on the side.
4. And how many times does 2 go into 2?
4x.
4x. For the bottom, how many times does 2 go into 6?
3 times
3.
y.
And then nothing left over.
That's epic.
You know,
So-
that really wasn't easy.
Yeah, the negative exponents are really not that bad. You just create a fraction.
Yeah, you just gotta flip it.
Yep.
Oh my God,
It
words.
was the perfect square.
That scares me.
That's it, miss?
I'm going to do 15 and then I'm done.
Oh,
All right, you have 2 word problems on your practice tomorrow. And once again, they're really actually not that bad. We just have to read the problem. So the length, Asalia, Ariana, you paying attention?
Yeah.
The length of a rectangle is this root. The width is this. And I want to find the area.
You multiply the mugs.
So what is the formula for area of a rectangle?
Length
next
times
time's
width.
with.
Length times width. And I know that the length is the square root.
20x to the 6, y to the
And the width is,
Square root of 5
5 y 3.
and now it's just a problem like the front. We're going to multiply
5
100 x. Already say the same, and then
x6 because there's not another x, so we just write that, yep, and then y8.
square root of 100 equals
Yeah, we got it.
10.
Mhm.
Cube goes into 6. 3 times so x cubed.
Can y'all stop talking so damn fast?
Hold on, slow down.
Sound like
All right, so I'm going to explain what Angie just did.
Oh, okay, I know now.
Okay, the square root of 100 is 10. And then this is a square root, so it's a little 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, nothing left over. 2 goes into 8 4 times, nothing left over. And so the word problems really aren't that bad. I think you're just multiplying.